Hey, Lynn Tucker Carnivore here, and I want to do a public service announcement and then add a little of my own at the end. I want you to all go and check out Carnivore Science YouTube video with Michaela Peterson. Liz has done it again. The woman's background in pharmaceutical industry, knowing the technology, understanding the technical terms, and really defining all of that for us. And then also sharing with us that video that Michaela Peterson just did, her announcement that she wants everybody to volunteer that feel they can for this new study that she wants to do. And the study that she wants to do, I have a direct affiliation with, in that I have my own personal story about it too. When Jim, Ribeye Ranger, and I left San Diego for Texas, one of the things that we did just prior to that was deal with the sale of a house, deal with the purchase of a house, deal with the extra samples that we had accumulated in a storage unit, because we used to do sales support videos for a lot of the products that you see on shopping channels. And so I had to take care of all that inventory, had to deal with Christmas at the same time, sending out both personal Christmas cards and company Christmas cards. And getting a mortgage back then was a lot more difficult, especially if you owned your own business and, having people say yes to a loan. You had to jump through a lot of hoops. So all this was going on, and getting everything packed and into a pod and ready to leave. Well, right before we left, I went to the chiropractor that I hadn't gone to in so long, and we were totally stressed up until that point. And he did his magic, as he always did, and God bless the man. But the release of toxins were quite immense. And what did I do right after that? Well, I hadn't had a massage in a long, long time either, so I took my last little one that I could for 90 minutes. And boy, did it feel great. But oh my gosh, again, all the toxins that it let out into my system. And I'm not a big water drinker, never was back then. And then, right before we left, as we're clamoring to get all the last minute things done for the house to be perfect and us to be able to take off, and we had to give keys back to all of the people on our block, because we were kind of like the block, captains. And Jim, having been a retired PD, they trusted us, and rightly so. We really did take care of a lot of the little things that happened around the neighborhood. So I'm going to give back the keys for this one house. Well, as I'm talking to my neighbor, she sneezes right in my face, accidentally, of course, but right afterwards she says, "Oh, that big flu that's going around. It seems I've got it." And I was like, "You do?" Okay, didn't think anything of it. Scurrying around, giving everyone else their keys back, and we get on the road that afternoon in a car, all out, like 8 hours, 10, I don't know how long we drove. And we went to one of our friend's house, Jim's friend from the police department from a long time ago. Stayed overnight there. By that evening, I had 102 temperature. I kind of powered through the evening. I stayed to myself so no one else got sick. And lovely couple that we know, really good friends, really sweet people. She made the most wonderful dinner, thank God. And I was so sick, but played it cool, and we got back into the car. We even had our 3 dogs with us at that point. And we stayed in their little casita. It was just lovely. And we drove another 8 to 10 hours and then stayed in Stockton, I think it was, in Texas. And I was in such horrible pain. I mean, it was the worst cold ever. I'm sure it was the flu, but I didn't know. And we get to Texas, and we have to stay in a La Quinta hotel or motel or whatever it was for 2 weeks, because our house hadn't closed yet and wouldn't until mid-month. So we did that, and we still wanted to tour around Texas and see the things that, we had only seen pictures of. And because we bought our house sight unseen, you can do that because they Google Earth, you can see quite a bit of whatever is around the neighborhood and the house you're about to buy. We asked our realtor if the pictures lied, and he said, no, the pictures don't do it justice. So the one we found was great, and so good, in fact, that when I finally saw the house, I just got down on my knees and started crying, thinking, God, you have found the most beautiful house I've ever had. And thank you so much. It was gorgeous. 2-story, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and this beautiful green belt behind us. Long story, but we were very, very happy. And a little fishing pond down the walkable way, down the road, and it was just perfect. So we're there, and we're driving around, and I usually had about an hour's worth of feeling good and looking around and seeing the different things that were near the house. And when we came home, even when we were in that hotel for that first night, I was so sick. What I had was these aches and pains in my joints that would travel around my body, whether it was in my ankles one night, my whole leg the other night, my back, my arms, my neck, my spine, you name it. I couldn't know where it was going to hit next. And the only thing that made me feel good was a hot bath. And there I was laying in a hot bath, tears running down my face because it hurt so badly. Well, I also had a fever of over 100 every night. And every night of those 2 weeks, fever, aches and pains, excruciating pain in one spot. And nothing seemed to help. Well, I started doing some research online, and yeah, it sounded like an autoimmune disease, right? So I was taking grapeseed extract at that time, as I had done since 1995, and this was now 2013. And grapeseed extract, I'm telling you, before I knew about carnivore, I really loved it. And I even was on air with a lady who had done her thesis on it, and she was also enthralled and convinced. So I stopped taking that because that was an antioxidant, and I had an autoimmune disease. And my autoimmune disease, if that was my correct diagnosis that I did, that would be attacking the very good that I was trying to do. So I just kind of lived with it. I finally got to a doctor because we found one that we liked that was near our home, and he did a full blood panel and found out that he thought I had lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, and you need to see a specialist. Luckily, back then, my nephrologist friend, I was able to email my blood work to, and I said, I've seen those advertisements on rheumatoid arthritis and what they want you to take. I can't take those pills. I don't want those side effects. Please tell me that my blood work isn't that bad. And he looked at it and he wrote me back. And my question was, would they laugh at me at a rheumatoid arthritis doctor's office if I showed them this blood work that this doctor that I just seen said, you definitely should go to a specialist? He said, yeah, it really doesn't rise to the occasion. It's bad, but it doesn't rise to the occasion of you going through all of that. Thank God, So fast forward, that was January, February. It was the end of January and then February when I got so sick. Not until St. Patrick's Day did I lose that, my temperature of over 100 enough and felt good enough to go out and have a steak, which is something I wanted. Even back then, my body knew I needed the steak, right? And I felt so much better after I ate that. And we had a nice evening. And then I found a massage therapist because I was still part of the Massage Envy group. And she had the same situation happen to her, only about humidity. She went from a very dry place in Arizona to a very humid spot. Even though it's central Texas, it's not as humid as Houston, but the hill country still has its share. And she was renovating a house and taking wallpaper off, so she had all that humidifier going too. And it really wreaked havoc on her. And then I remembered back and I said, yeah, when we moved from Minnesota to California, again, a very humid place to a very dry place, I had such horrible headaches, like really bad headaches. Went to the doctor and he said it was climate change. That was before it was, global warming and all that stuff. He's like, you just are having effects of a change of climate. You're going from a very wet place to a very dry place. I wanted to strangle him because, I had bad headaches. And turns out he must have been right. Because when you go from a very wet place to a very dry place, same thing. And a dry to a wet place. So I had that on top of the flu, on top of all those toxins in my body that were let loose, and nowhere to go, just sitting in a car while we're driving. Bad, bad, bad combination. Well, that fast forward now to the fact that Mikhaila Peterson has gone through everything she went through, hip replacements, ankle replacements at age 17 because she had such a bad autoimmune problems. I can only imagine, based on my own experience, of how painful that was, never knowing where it was going to hit too. And only a hot bath that could do anything about it. And oddly enough, Dr. Berry talks about heat more so than cold is something we're finding out that helps you with pain. Because always it was, ice it constantly. And being raised in Minnesota, the frozen tundra of the world, I can't see how cold could help anything. So I was like, yay. And that hot water was just fabulous. So I'm thinking it would be really nice if every one of you that watches my videos could then go over to Carnivore Science, Liz's YouTube channel, and then watch that Mikhaila Peterson announcement and her description of it, because she really goes through what is IBS, what is IBD, what is rheumatoid arthritis, what are some of the medications that they give out, why did they give them out, and what exactly, from a research standpoint, her thoughts were on the study that Mikhaila wants to do. And anybody that listens to it that feels that they could volunteer, I'm telling you, from what I went through, if I had known that Carnivore A would have been a tool I could have used to get over what I was experiencing even faster, I would have been so happy to know that. I just powered through. We had boxes upon boxes because we had moved from one state to another, halfway across the nation by ourselves. And all I could do was lay, shelf paper down and go one box at a time and then die in pain, but keep it up every day going, I got to move forward or I'm not going to move at all. So if I had known about carnivore, another one of those times in your lives, and don't we all go through them, where if I'd only known, if my parents had only known, if my brothers and sisters had only known, if we'd only known all about this, how much better we would have been, how much healthier we would have been much earlier, and the outlook on life would have been so much better. So I had to pass my little story along and direct you to that video that Liz just did on Carnivore Science. That's her YouTube channel. And it's Mikhaila Peterson's announcement video that she did a reaction video to. So check it out. And thanks for hanging with me for almost 15 minutes. I appreciate it. Give me a like if you liked it, or if I could do something to help you as well. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.